Right, so I'd just like to say hello and welcome to this MGAA market briefing. Very happy to have LexisNexis with us today. So quickly, for anyone, again, I apologise up front, for anyone that has attended these sessions regularly, I'm going to go through the same items in terms of housekeeping, but just for anyone that's not been on these sessions before, polite us to please keep cameras and microphones off, just so that we can hopefully minimise the risk that we have any technical blips and unfortunately don't make it to the end of the session. So yes, that would be much appreciated. Also request please, if anyone has activated any AI note-taking tools, if they could deactivate them please, because we don't have the relevant authority for those. And I do have the power at this end to eject them from the meeting, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Just to let you know, which I know that Zoom is very good at, but also like to just remind everyone that the session is being recorded. Excellent for anyone that's not able to make it or anyone that wants to review the session. So what I will do, probably end of this week, maybe early next week, I'll send you out a link to the recording so that you'll be able to have a review of the content if you wish. So in terms of last thing to remind you, so our sessions are accredited by the CII. So if this does meet with your development needs, you can add it to your training or learning log. So I think that's all my do's and don'ts. Oh, it's not, I forgot one thing. So questions. As usual, could I ask that if you have any questions, if you can pop them in the chat as you go along. And then what we're going to do for this session is any questions that get posted, we will compile them at the end and get back to the individuals who pop them in there. So what would be really, really helpful is if you're popping a question in there, and maybe your username doesn't necessarily identify who you are, if you could just pop a note, and then that will help us get back to you with a response to the question. So I think you'll be pleased to know that's my piece over and done with. So yes, very happy to have LexisNexis with us today. We've got Helen Richardson, who is going to be doing a session on attaining the single customer view, and I will hand over to Helen to introduce herself.
Thank you, Alison, and hello everyone. And I'm just going to so thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to join the session, where I'm going to be talking about, attaining the single customer view. So if I just introduce myself, I am a senior product manager at LexisNexis. I've been with the company now for nearly 5 years, but I've worked in both the financial services and insurance sector for well over 10 years now in delivering products to market. So without any further delay, as I say, I'd like to take you through the presentation. And so what I'm here to do today is talk to you excuse me, about how, as MGAs, you can create a single consolidated customer record that's a true representation of every dealing of an individual that you have across your organisation. And how, by linking fragmented records across maybe quotes or policies or claims, it can become easier to create that comprehensive view of a customer that can then better support customer personalisation, underwriting and risk assessment throughout that customer life cycle. I'll also explain a bit more about how identity resolution works and how this links and matches customer records, and effectively it underpins that single customer view. You will understand more about the benefits of achieving a single customer view, and you'll also understand why it's important to consider the data that is potentially used within any AI solutions that you're looking to develop. So quickly, if we look at the agenda, as I say, we'll talk a little bit about what is deemed to be one of your most valuable data assets that you hold, some of the challenges that there are out there today with fragmented data sets. I'll talk a little bit more about the single customer view and identity resolution. and how that single customer view can help MGAs today, especially looking at the advancements in AI capabilities. And finally, the why now. Now, if you bear with me, this has got a bit of a build on it, so I'll bring it all up. So, as you know, in today's fiercely competitive insurance market, as MGAs, you face pressures to grow your books, to retain those profitable customers, whilst also delivering on exceptional customer service. And at the same time, many of you will already be looking at adoption of new technologies and delivering more product innovation that will address those more specialised, nuanced markets that you work in. And all of this while looking to improve your loss ratio performance and satisfying those capacity providers. But amidst all of these priorities, one critical asset often remains underutilised, and that's your own customer data. So if you think about every application, every quote, every policy, every MTA and claim, it all generates data that could transform how you compete and capitalise on the opportunities that that data could afford. And so despite its potential, many MGAs and insurers are not fully leveraging their own data, and for good reason. It's not easy. If we look here at the surveys, and from recent surveys, you can see that it shows the scale of the problem, with poor data quality and outdated legacy systems being cited as major barriers to the adoption of AI. And only 18% of the respondents claim that they have mastered their own data. And this is further compounded by the surge that we've seen in merger and acquisition activity in the market, which has further fragmented the data landscape. So there is an increased urgency to harness your data now more effectively. Today, many will face a number of data-related challenges, which could include siloed systems, where separate databases are held for maybe a policy or a claim or for a unique line of business, for instance, motor or home or commercial, which make integration difficult. And some of you may not even hold all of the customer data. For example, claims data, it might be handled directly by the carrier or a separate claims management company. There's also data variety. So data itself can come in different formats, as you can appreciate. It can come in structured, unstructured, semi-structured. If you think about like a date or a time format, they can vary, or a phone number structure can vary. And all of this can see large variations in data, which can make it harder to match those records, leading to maybe duplicate records or inaccurate or inconsistent data. You've also then got to think about the volume and complexity of data. So the sheer volume of data and the complexity of some of those data sets that are held today can all add to the challenge, including ensuring that data quality and accuracy. And then data management itself, it comes with that increase in volumes, comes with therefore increased storage costs. And it's imperative that data governance and compliance is applied rigorously to avoid those unintended data risks. And all of these challenges can impact on your ability to leverage your data effectively, for example, to be used within analytics or those risk-based decision making. There may be like duplicate records or inaccurate information, which could therefore lead to poor or impersonal customer experience. So it's important to build a full and accurate customer profile. And it's not only good practice as insurance businesses continue to adopt AI for business transformation. It's a must in a market that's constantly striving for improved risk assessments and pricing and overall enhancing financial performance for both MGAs and the capacity providers. And then thinking about the wide distribution network that you work within. So from working with the many brokers to the capacity providers, this again could face data quality concerns, whereby accurate assessment of non-standard risks is imperative. But thinking about the challenges, This is also why many organisations are struggling to utilise technologies like AI, as we saw at the beginning, and gain that competitive edge. The industry is rightly excited about AI's potential, but AI models are only as strong as the data that they're built on. So why does AI need clean and unified data? Because without having accurate, up-to-date and a comprehensive view of the data that's held, then any AI models run that risk of producing unreliable outcomes or even algorithm bias. So there must also be consideration around the consumer. So consumer expectations have evolved, and trust in AI is now closely tied to its ability to deliver those personalised, accurate and reliable experiences throughout that customer journey. And you must also navigate the complexities of managing sensitive information, ensuring that data quality and availability whilst maintaining compliance. As these factors can also directly impact on your ability to generate greater insights, to make those more informed decisions, and deliver those data-driven services that new innovative products to serve those different market needs. So to extract value from AI and to help gain that competitive edge, you should consider adopting a strategic and holistic approach to data management. And this means moving beyond those fragmented systems and embracing solutions that enables you to see that unified view of the customer. And that unified view of the customer is the single customer view. So the ultimate goal is to create that single customer view, which is that comprehensive, unified profile of each customer by aggregating all of their relevant data together. Achieving this golden record, it can help you to improve that customer experience through those personalised interactions. It can enhance your analytics and decision making. It can reduce duplication and inconsistencies in records. It can help increase those operational efficiencies. And finally, to build those AI models on an accurate set of data. But to achieve this unified profile of a customer by matching and linking all of your data together, then first you need to consider how to implement an identity resolution system that can help enable that holy grail of achieving a single customer view across the many varied portfolios. So let's ensure we understand the distinction between single customer view and identity resolution. While single customer view is about having a comprehensive, unified profile of customers, then identity resolution is focused on identifying and linking records that refer to that same individual across different data sources. Achieving a single customer view requires identity resolution, reliably linking those records that belong to the same individual. So here you can see that we can take all the data from across the business, whether it be marketing, sales, customer support, maybe policy and claim information. And by matching and linking those records across these disparate data sets, then they can be consolidated to enable that single customer view. Records can be matched using a number of different methods or approaches, and a couple of the most common approaches used for matching records is either deterministic or probabilistic matching. So deterministic matching, or aka a rules-based matching, this approach is mainly looking at basically an exact match between two data sets or two pieces of information or two records. Whereas the probabilistic matching approach, this is using a statistical approach, and it measures the probability that two customer records represent the same individual. So whereas the rules-based matching can struggle to match names and addresses where they've changed, using more advanced probabilistic methods where the weight of the elements can reduce those errors and provide greater confidence in your match rates. So just to recap on some of the benefits that a single customer view within the insurance business can bring and why it really matters. So thinking about better decision making. So with more data insight, this will allow for more informed data-driven decisions, excuse me. And there's that greater personalisation enables that tailored marketing and improved customer experiences. That better customer profiling can then lead to new product innovation by understanding more about your customers and the markets that you serve in. And then, of course, accuracy. So it reduces that duplication and errors in customer databases, and it can help that normalization of data, and it can consider the different data formats and improve data quality for analytics. Notwithstanding compliance, it can help to meet those privacy regulations like GDPR. And then fraud prevention, it can help detect suspicious behaviour, perhaps by linking identities across systems and maybe spot potential fraud with suspicious patterns that you've seen that may not have been previously obvious. And then it finally lays the foundation for AI advancements within a business. So now we understand some of the benefits of a single customer view can bring. Another question is how best to achieve this. Identity resolution, you need to think about whether you build or do you buy. Now, whilst MGAs and insurers can of course do this themselves, and some do obviously have their own in-house solutions, these will need investment. And initially, anything that you set out to do will require investment. But more crucially, going forward, these will need to be maintained. That will incur further costs and obviously use vital resources within an organisation. And then there's the data itself, with people maybe moving address or a change in circumstances like getting married. It can be much harder to match and link data sets than fully appreciated. So especially when you also consider that some MGAs may not have or may only have a limited set of data that they hold for an individual. And it's these complexities that often make a buy approach more practical and scalable. And at LexisNexis, we've already invested heavily in an identity resolution service, and we continue to do so. And it's called LexID for Insurance. So what is LexID for Insurance? Well, it's taken expert data science and advanced linking algorithms to enable disparate customer data to be matched at a rate and a speed of accuracy that maybe some of the MGAs may struggle to achieve. Taking common threads that are found across billions of customer records that are held in a database, and we pull on this large breadth and depth of data. And by taking multiple customer records, we then resolve them down to a persistent, unique identifier that we call the LexID. Now this database, it contains, like I said, billions of records from over 30 different data sources, and that includes the electoral roll, registry trust data through to Companies House. The data is continually being updated with new information from these data sources, and every time it's updated, our proprietary matching and linking technology will match those records to the same individual and and assign the same persistent LexID to that individual. Now, LexID is already used within the LexisNexis business, and it underpins many of our own products and services today, and many of those services you probably are taking or consuming yourselves. But we also see insurers utilising LexID within their own organisations as they realise the benefits of that single customer view and recognise the benefits that LexID has over any in-house identity resolution service. So the result is one consolidated record for each customer, giving you the power to build a single customer view with attributes that support the underwriting, the pricing, the fraud detection, and the compliance, and even the claims. But why LexID? Well, as I mentioned a bit earlier, there are two sort of main approaches to matching records. There's the deterministic and probabilistic rules approach. Now, LexID uses proprietary linking technology, and it uses probabilistic matching. that allows us to match multiple records for an individual where they may have maybe a different name or an alias or a different address or a date of birth, and it allows us to match those records with confidence. And the probabilistic matching is basically taking a weighted value to a record, or it looks at an element within a record and it applies a weighted value to identify the uniqueness or the uniqueness of that element. And this is how we then build up our matching. So once the values are then totaled and we have a threshold that's reached, then the correct Lex ID will be assigned to those individual records. So if you look here in this example, you can see that the rules-based approach would, excuse me, you can see that the rules-based approach would see that John Birtwistle versus Jonathan Birtwistle don't match, whereas the Lex ID matching would see that the uniqueness of the surname of Birdwhistle in Cardiff, and it would apply that weighted uniqueness to the record, and it would match those two records. So here, Lex ID would help remove those false positives and reduce those false positives, where another matching may actually not identify or incorrectly not identify those matches. And in this next example, this also shows how Lex ID can reduce those false positives. So here, using that rules-based matching approach, this would potentially identify a John Smith or two records with John Smith London as a match, whereas applying our probabilistic matching, then Lex ID would correctly not match those two records because it doesn't have sufficient confidence in those two records being the same individual. And this matching approach, as I say, significantly improves the match rate and accuracy and enables reliable identity resolution whilst reducing those false positives and those false negatives. So now we know how important it is for yourselves and insurers to have that single customer view as a foundation for any AI or digital transformational changes. And it needs that clean, accurate, unified, comprehensive data for each customer. So having that trusted foundation allows you then to focus on the product innovations and the transformation with that reliable AI models benefiting from the high quality, consistent data to produce those predictions or outcomes that are more accurate. And any automated workflows, for example, are dependable on that reliable data to ensure that the right actions are triggered. And any introduction of digital aids, for example, chatbots or self-service portals, you need that complete customer profile to deliver those personalised experiences. So considering how to achieve a single customer view is vital, and leveraging Lex ID can certainly help you to achieve this, but it will still need but it will still need investment and enterprise deployment to really leverage the benefits that it can bring along with those new AI capabilities. So to unlock the full potential of AI, you then should consider avoid training models on poor quality data. Preparing data for AI transformation starts with identity resolution and that single customer view. And Lex ID is the enabler, and it can help you to leverage your most valuable asset, your own data. So as highlighted earlier, only a small number of organisations are currently extracting significant value from AI, although this is accelerating. So investing in a trusted foundation is key to leveraging your own data assets and gaining that competitive edge that will help enable that greater innovation, those improved customer experiences and more personalised customer experiences, the improved outcomes, and fundamentally profitable growth. Oops, sorry. And so to summarise, when considering how best to leverage your own data assets and those new technology advancements, think about these few takeaways. Remember, the single customer view is essential for those modern insurance operations, and how LexID can enable that single customer view with its high match rate and robust identity resolution, and how that single customer view can unlock your AI capabilities, your operational efficiencies, and that growth that you're looking for. And finally, as I just draw to a close, I'd just like to thank you for your time and listening to this session. And I'd like to now hand back to Alison. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much for that session. It was very insightful. I've had a quick check on the questions, and we haven't had any submitted at the moment. What I would say to everyone is if you have any questions, and assuming you're not busy typing at the moment, when I share with you the link to the recording, feel free to respond to my email with your question, and I can pass it on. Or, as you can see here, we have contact details sitting there if you do have any questions you want to ask.